My banjo sounds 100 times better since I made this one simple change. I began learning clawhammer style banjo in 2021, and within the past 2 years, I've actually become fairly decent at it. One thing's always bugged me ever since I started playing clawhammer. My banjo has never sounded like other clawhammer style banjo players. Every time I hear another clawhammer banjo player play, they always sound real smooth and mellow. Strings ring out when they pluck them with their finger, and I always sound like I'm trying to play clawhammer on a chainsaw. In the beginning, I thought, I'm just learning, and so once I get better at playing clawhammer, it'll get better. But then it never did. And then I thought, well, maybe it's the banjo. Maybe I just need to go out and buy me a higher end banjo. And that wasn't it either. So I started studying other clawhammer style banjo players. And I've watched endless amounts of videos trying to figure out either what I was doing wrong or what was going wrong in my playing, why it sounded so rough compared to everybody else's who sounded so smooth. And after months and months of studying, I think I've finally figured it out. See, when you start playing clawhammer banjo, most players will tell you it doesn't really matter whether you pick with your index finger or your middle finger. But for me, this made the biggest difference of all. See, ever since I've started playing clawhammer banjo, I've always picked with my index finger because it's always felt more natural to me, and I was always hitting strings that I shouldn't with my middle finger when I tried to play with it. So I've always played with my index finger. And I think that's been my problem the whole time. As soon as I switched over and started plucking with my middle finger, my banjo sounds completely different, and it sounds more mellow. It sounds like everybody else's that I've heard play. And if you go back and watch a lot of clawhammer plays, I ain't saying they all do it, but most of them use their middle finger because they've got their index finger out as they're playing, and this is what they kind of look like as they're playing. And I look like this. Now let me show you why I think this happens. When you curl your hand around into the clawhammer position, you'll notice that your middle finger has a longer range of motion than your index does. Also notice when you try to pull your index back into position, it puts tension on your knuckles right here as you try to pull that further back. See, when you push this finger back, it's almost like you're spring loading this finger, like it's got a lot of tension on it. And this tension on here makes your index finger more rigid, and so as you're trying to play with it, it makes the loud, more gruff sound. To where your middle finger is more loose and's got more of a range of motion, so it's got more give to it. So when you strike your strings, it isn't as solid as it hits the strings. It's more pliable to the strings, and I think that's what gives it that softer sound. Now I'm gonna let you hear what my banjo sounds like when I play with my index finger and then when I play with my middle finger. Now let's hear what it sounds like with the middle finger.